So, hello and welcome to the Donny Chaingang with me, Matt Payne. We are back live in the studio again with the Donny Chaingang, the one and only, the legendary, the one that everybody talks about, the one that happens in real life as well as on the fantastic platform that is Swift, led by Russ Downing on a Tuesday and a Thursday, except when occasionally Russ has other duties to do, such as the pressures of being a high-profile bike rider. And really looking forward to having a chat with Russ, because I know he's been really, really busy. So hopefully Russ is going to be with us very shortly indeed. In the meantime, quick reminder for people, don't forget, if you're planning on joining us in the future, there's a 1 hour cut-off if you're just going to join a single ride. And if you are going to be with us and you're going to be a member, then don't forget, of course, the membership. You need to get that in every month. And that gets you all of the links direct in. You don't have to worry about those at all. So let's see how Russ is doing. Let's head across to our yellow beacon, the one and only, the Fonzie Downing. It is the best. So, Russ, how are you doing?
I'm all good, mate. I just caught my iPhone charger wire and just nearly lost you.
that would have not been good after all those tests today and all the checking the tech.
Well, that's the joys, you know. I've been on the phone all day, and it needs a bit of zap to get me through the gang. So, yeah, just getting the last bit of power through the old iPhone, and hope it goes through my legs as well. Might need them on here tonight.
Definitely, and this is going to be an interesting course. Now, we haven't been on here for a long time. In fact, it's so long they had to do a lot of rewriting all the details and everything on there, because it is a long time that we've been on here. And I was seeing on the chat lots of people remembering that this is a course that is very hard to hold together, and that is one of the reasons why we've included it now in the middle of the summer rather than include it when we've got hundreds and hundreds of people.
Yeah, I was exactly the same as you, Matt. I was scrolling through my notes, you know, it says a little program of wait here, do this, do that, and I'm like, hold on a minute, I'm not actually got on in my phone for this. So that shows how long ago it is that we've been here. So just made some program up, mate. You know how it is. Just stay around yellow, and the rest just happens.
Yep, definitely. And I think we've got our regulars on here, and I know most of the time it is Sunny, but Neil from the Crosscast just joining the gang back from holiday, and the team from Gritty back in with us. There's an en masse arrival, I think, coming from Balsa, and I do think we're going to have the women's yellow beacon, Emma, aka the boss, likely to be joining us in her race team. So. You never know. There could be. I suspect she's likely to be sitting at the back and being grumpy at people at the back. You never know.
Yeah, just seeing Emma roll in there and sign in and say hello. So yeah, welcome back, Emma, and yeah, hope you've been enjoying the racing with your new little squad. I see you've been Dino tells me you've been smashing some good numbers. You know, until you got a little bit injured, but yeah, it's all good.
Yep, definitely. Let's see how everybody gets on. Now, we're going to jump across to the map, and I'm going to let you dive off and get everybody briefed. So we'll show everybody where they're going. Good luck, Russ. We'll try and grab you during the ride.
Cheers, mate. Have a good one.
So great to catch up with Russ there. Let's jump across to the map and show you exactly where everybody is going to be heading. Now, this is Watopia, the original world, and this is Sand and Sequoias. Now, Sand and Sequoias is the extension that happened when we had the Fuego Flats extension, and the new world as we came out over the bridge. You turn left out onto this normally from the original beach start. Now, let's have a look. Let's see just how everybody's getting on. I think we're going to just check where the ride is heading. And guess where? It's heading around the flatlands. So this is going to be quick. Now, we have mixed it up this week. It is going to be really, really interesting to see just how people cope with the fact that we've got such a long flat. We have the long run in 2.5K basically of running. That's the red section on your map. We then go through past the rock arch for the first time and then head out and around the main course. Now, as we head out around the main course, it's basically flat. There's a slight climb up towards the lake and then dropping back down through the flatlands and then a slight rise to the turn and then it's into Sand and Sequoias, up over Titans Grove, and then dropping back down through the roller coasters, down through the old mud flats, and back in and round. Now we do 2 full laps of that, which is 40.4k, which gives us a total distance to the finish at the Rock Arch of 42.8 kilometres. There's 2.5k of warm down just about, and not too much climbing today. There's in fact more climbing on Thursday than there is on Tuesday. And that means that hopefully Ted, Andrew Edwards, who is our red beacon, won't be struggling too much with people being distanced. Now let's zoom across from our Zwift Hacks map straight across to the Velo Viewer graphic, which gives us our height details. Now, as you have a look on the course, we've just twisted it a little bit, but essentially we start at the top of the map and we head out around in a clockwise direction. And as you can see, pancake flat basically all the way to the right hand side. A slight little climb of 1.7% up to 21 meters in height. Then we drop back down round, and then the climbing starts right the way through Titans Grove. However, the gradients aren't too extreme. Nothing more than about 8 to 9%, even on the steepest parts of the kickers. And I was out actually just testing the route, just double checking this because it had been so long on Zwift and riding through it, and remember quite how much I enjoy this route. So I think it's going to be really interesting to see how the riders deal with this. If you want to be able to go on the mountain, to scroll it, to spin it, to stretch the gradients, to really delve into the details, to look at things like King of the Mountains and so on, don't forget, Fellow Viewer not only has all of Zwift on there, but it has so much of real life. It connects to your Strava, and it will give you all of those details. Get yourselves onto the Fellow Viewer site. It's absolutely brilliant stuff. So we are going to zoom across. Let's take a look at what the riders are up to out in the pens, and it looks like 20 seconds to go. The mob are just about all in there. It's certainly looking a pretty packed field at the moment. 52 riders according to the screens. Don't forget, of course, not everybody will show on the screens because not all the operating systems show up on everybody else's. We run a PC-based system, a Windows-based system, and that catches almost everybody, if not quite everyone. So, looks like the riders are underway. You can see them all heading out from the start. So, let's see if we can jump in with the riders out here on the Chaingang, and we're going to jump in, I think, with AD Dench. So, you can see just over there, AD sat in the red in the middle of your screen, currently kicking out. Top of your screen over there. We might get your point team right. You've only done this for the last 18 months. Watts, heart rate, and revs per minute. So his watts at the moment, 97 watts. His revs, 63, at a heart rate of 104. 26 kilometres an hour. And 80, in fact, is just there in the red, just sticking his nose out into the wind at the moment. And 80 has currently completed 0.1 of a K. 23 seconds rolling. You can see the map top right hand side of your screen that we will be zooming that in. We'll be flipping it into 3D, and of course we'll be keeping an eye on the riders down the right hand side of the riders who are around him, up and down. Now you can see Russ's messages up on the screen. That won't always come up for all of the riders and all of the messages. We do filter some of them out, oddly enough, because occasionally people get a little bit upset when they get beaten and or when they're having a hard time. So the gang just heading out. Let's zoom that map in. You just see us diving into a 3D, and you can just about see pretty much everybody coming out together. And the red beacon, well, Ted's a very experienced rider and just making his way up towards the front. So without further ado, here on the Down in Cycling YouTube channel, let's dive in live into the Donny Chaingang here with me, Matt Payne. So our riders on the Donny Chaingang now making the way out from that starting point, and we just seen a few people just spread out and across the road. You can just see 1 or 2 people just distanced from the back of the gang, and I suspect we're going to see 1 or 2 people just rolling back to help everybody else out. We'll keep a check on there. Remember, of course, the aim of this is to keep everybody together. So no Gabivas diving on the front, guys. This is all about working as a gang. Now, looks like Daryl Tashel-Waller just powering his way up from the back of the group. He's currently 10 seconds down. And Martin Bolt as well at the moment, just ticking along, just starting to wind it up a little bit here. Kieran Smith off the back as well. And looks like Craig Herring in the grey there, just rolling back to give people a hand. Same with Johnny Atkins, actually just hanging off the back of that group. Johnny just sat a little bit further back. Let's jump in with Johnny. Johnny in that blue and white of the Cryogen team there. And Johnny looking particularly smooth at the moment. And keeping that the revs rolling around, just keeping a track on the riders who are coming in. Looks like one or two riders dropping back to go give people a hand. And I suspect that looked like Neil from the Crosscast, in fact, who had dropped back. Let's go dive in with gritty rider Neil. So Neil back from a trip where he's been out on the north coast. So Neil dropping back there, but looking good at the moment. And the man from Gritty, my co-host on the Crosscast at the moment, just going to make his way up towards the front of the group. Good to see that Andy Hawes is with us now. I didn't think Horsey was going to make all of these, but Andy has been out and about setting the route, doing the route checks for the Tour of Britain, and make sure you give him a follow on social media, because Andy, of course, is the man who puts together the route, who checks the route. He's the route director for the Tour of Britain, and great to see Andy has been getting out and about, checking out some of these great routes that are out there. Now, just taking a little bit of a check back to the riders behind. It is pretty fractured back here. I'm not sure what's going on at the front, whether the pace is a little bit hot tonight. Let's have a little bit of a look at the numbers. We'll pull up some numbers on the screen, and let's go have a little bit of a hunt up the front, because the back at the moment is a bit all over the place, which is quite unusual. So just taking a little bit of a look. Looks like Neil's back in that group. Barter's in there, Ball's in there, and don't think anybody's driving it along. It's if anything, it's a bit driving Miss Daisy today. So I think it's more issues at the back than it is particularly powering off at the front. Now, one man that is always good to see in the Chaingang, it is Ian Taylor, the man from 1080, one of our key supporters and sponsors here on the Donny Chaingang. And Ian Taylor from 1080, now on the tourist trail, in fact, in Norwich, because the 1080 Oakley store has been looking after so many riders. He's done so many discounts over the years. There's so much knowledge in there that he is the place to go to. And don't forget, if you are a member of the DCG gang, then there is an extra discount available only to members of the DCG gang, which is extra and above the already disgustingly cheap prices. So make sure, if you need some shades, dive in with Ian. He is here and on the gang. Now, let's have a little bit of a look. We are seeing riders just off the back of the group. If we just jump up above Ian, just seeing a group of three coming back in. So Craig Herring, Keith Richardson, Daryl's coming back, and Sonia just jumping in with the group. I suspect she's in and out. And I know Sonia's internet connection is not the best. I'm not quite sure how people managed to wave on the way past, but it's being done. Thank you very much. So good to see the gang coming past. Now, Maddie Smith in here from Bolsover. I know Maddie was out riding the Bolsover ride, and let's see if we can just jump in with Maddie. She was leading the Bolsover Green Ride, which is the social ride, and that heads out. And Maddie was did a great job of that in some pretty terrible conditions, it has to be said. So hopefully we're going to see Maddie on form tonight. I'm not quite sure whether she's going to be on a fast one or a slow one. Let's see. So Maddie, of course, national champion and great off-road and road rider, and good to see Maddie out leading the group ride in real life for the Bolsover gang. And there's a lot of Bolsover riders come on. Good to see Ian Bale on here. I know Anne was out, and in with us here, another of our regular riders on the Chaingang, and good to see he's back in with us again. Kieran Smith's in here. We're going to take a little bit of a look. Looks like Carl Johnson, Craig Genther in here as well. We mentioned our women's yellow beacon. Now, this is Emma not wearing the yellow beacon tonight. That's Russ's job for the moment. It is going to be in here. That Emma's just started wheeling back in after a crash, which she used the shoulder as a brake, essentially. And now back up and riding. Was out with Maddie at the weekend and back into the Chaingang. And don't forget, of course, the Women's Wednesdays rides. We're still making the plans and working out quite how we're going to do as many rides as we did last year. But Emma, very keen to get those Women's Wednesdays back up and running, and I'm sure we're doing some meetups in real life as well. So looks like Emma the boss is in here as well. Now, one man who we can almost guarantee to be in here because it is a very fast, flat part of the course. It is this man. It is Gareth Mason on the disc wheels in the grey there. Disc rear wheel, really tight ride tonight. It's actually really difficult to get in and check out anybody on the ride. Let's see if we get up above him. So here we go. So just having a little bit of a look. And it is Mr. Mason sat here. Nice and smooth. Disc on the back. Deep rim on the front. And looking very good indeed. So he's clearly brought a bike equipped for the job. Let's have a little bit of a check. Chris Canham is back in here with us. Billy No Mates in the gang. And at the moment, everybody is looking like they are in there. Now, we always say if you get the planning right and you get the setup right, what you would be looking for is on a ride where you have a handicap ride, you'd try and get the finish with a blanket over everybody. Well, you could just about do that at the moment, that's for sure. So just getting news coming in, one of our regular riders on the Chaingang, Mason Hollyman. A lot of you will remember him from the winter. Good news from Russ here. Mason Hollyman just having won a stage in Portugal and up on stage for the Israeli Startup Nation team. So good to see another Chaingang success. But lots of the riders who ride the Chaingang regularly out and racing through the summer and often coming back on as well. So just keep an eye on the ride. Looks like pretty much everybody all together, which is what we want to see. So just taking a little bit of a look back here, looks like Neil from the Crosscast, just drop him back a little bit here. He's just coming back in. I don't know whether Neil's getting dropouts. I know his kit's not been in use for a little while, but on his way back in and just making his way back onto the back of the group. You can just see two of our regular riders here. Mr. Catley just dropping back a little bit, and Craig Genther is one of our riders that we can almost guarantee is going to be there helping bring riders back in to the fold. Craig sporting not just the Downing Cycling Coaching Works jersey, but also has the new map cap, the sign that our riders have completed stage one of the map 4 stages and the challenge on Swift. So looks like Mr. Genther sat snugly in there, just chasing onto the back wheel of Ted, who is patrolling the back of the bunch with Russ at the moment. So pretty much everybody together. Looks pretty smooth out there, which is what we want to see. Just really interested to watch who's out of the back, who's going backwards and forwards regularly. Just looks like Andy Hall's taking a run off the back there, maybe a bit of an issue. You can see Andy at the moment kicking out nearly 8 watts per kilo to get himself back into the group. So Halsey at the moment on the chase on that Pinarello Dogma and just getting quizzed by Ted. Just checking he's all okay. Not getting many messages from Andy. Now, if Andy's out on tour and out doing the stages, he's going to be on limited Wi-Fi signal and tech. We have known Andy turbo trainer in the garages, workshops, as well as do the DCG in his hotel room. And looks like he's back in the fold once again. So pretty smooth out there today, and looks like our rider is comfortably on the way around. If you remember the map, basically we've been in to the lakeside. We come out the other side. We're now heading round the first 7k complete here. And the lap out there, well, about a third of the way round. Essentially, you've got a third in and through the desert. You've about a third of the way up the hill and a third of the way back down the hill once again to come back in. It does... it's not exact science in terms of those numbers, don't quote me on those, but it does give you a good indication of just how our riders are getting on at the moment. And certainly at the moment it looks pretty smooth with the gang out and riding, making this way through this fantastic scenery here in Watopia. So the message board quite busy, and just a quick heads up if you are watching live. I know lots of our riders do from the numbers. Please guys, remember that we do need you to give a bit of warning. If you are going to just drop off the back to sprint back on again, you don't need the red beacon chasing after you and dropping back. Please give them a reasonably easy ride. Let them know you're just dropping back to sprint back on again, just warming up, and then that makes the red beacons work a little bit easier as our riders make the way around and through. And looks to me like that group pretty much nicely all together at the moment, and not being ripped apart, which is what we want to see. The gang just coming into town at the moment, and soon going to be seeing them come in through past the turning point of the Tempest Future, which is one of the routes that we do use when it is when we're looking for something really flat and fast. So you can just see coming into town here on the top of the screen there on the top of the map. You can just see town coming up in the distance. This is the turnaround point for Tempest Future. However, we're going to be heading into the Sand and Sequoias, the other side of that ridge of rocky outcrops to the rider's right. So we're going to be on the way through town, heading on the other side, and then you can just see where the route is going to head back up and round in towards the Sequoias, in towards that old rainforest, the old forest, and up in and through, over through the Sequoias and back down in towards the desert once again. So Russ certainly would like everybody together as to go up over the climb. The group's still holding nice and steady at the moment. It's like even Neil's managed to get his tech sorted and not be paying attention to too many things at once. It's like pretty much everyone in here. Alistair QC in the gang, Darryl Tashawala we've seen, AD Dej, Chris Cunningham, Antonio Nadoni's in here. So Antonio back with us. Let's see if we can catch up with Antonio. So Antonio Nadoni in the team, a man who's had a very good Olympic Games, because of course Italy doing the business repeatedly and getting some great results in the Olympics. And Antonio nicely sat in with this group, looking good. It's good to have Antonio back with us. Mr. Sutcliffe is here once again. Jason Sutcliffe from out of the saddle, and Jason in the black there with that blue Tron bike. Just passing by the side of Neil from the Crosscast in the black there. Looks like he's up onto the heels of Andy Hawes. Horsey on that Pinarello at the moment. Pascal Johnson. As we roll through. Interesting to see the different choices of wheels in here. Just see some Manstein lightweight, so clearly some people not wanting to be too challenged on the hills. Maybe thinking they need to take that out. A number of people on deep rims without a disc rear. One or two people on disc rears completely. So just take a little bit of a look out from this side, and you can just see there's at least 2 or 3 sets of disc. I think Sonia Inslee is definitely in here on a disc as we start to make our way out of town. Now the gradient starts to kick in as we make our way in towards the far side of those outcrops. So we came down the far side here, and now being through town that you can see in the distance, and we're going to make our way up in towards the forest. Now, if this is a race section, this is absolutely brutal, because this is where everybody starts kicking hard and early. Downside is it is really, really tough, and this is where we're going to see differences on the riders. So this is going to be about staying around yellow. It's all pile on rust time, as Bobby Mason looking nice and smooth in there, just about 6 meters in front of Russ. And looks like John Garford's pretty much alongside Russ here. If we focus where Russ is at the moment, you can see Russ sat on the very back of the group, just keeping the brakes on the gang. A little bit of a split forming up near the front, and the riders are going to need to be pretty careful here. You can just see Russ just trying to make sure the gang is staying together at the back at the moment to give everybody that ramped warm up as they come up and into this forest. Now, we have in the past taken the course dives left. Today, slightly different. We are going to stay up and keep on going straight on, which will take us up and through in towards the lava pits, the full Titans Grove. But at the moment, everybody riding pretty strongly here, and in danger of doing some damage a little bit further back. So I think there's going to be a little bit of a regroup called if they're not careful. The gang just about holding together. That elastic is getting stretched at the moment up near the front. Now looks like that front just backing off a little bit. The pace just coming down. Time to hit key number 6 if you are a rider, because it's really simple. The numbers on your keyboard will change the view. So let's take a look. We'll run through. We'll use Russ as our great example. So number 1, this is Russ's view as number 1. He gets his avatar quite close. Number 2 brings him even closer. Number 3 is Russ looking through Russ's sunnies at the moment. 4 gives us a side view of Russ, who is just in the gang there. So number 5, this is down at Russ's ankles. This is the camera hung off the bottom of the motorbike. And 6 is the one that most of the riders need at the moment. This is the rear view mirrors, and this is enables you to look behind. You can just see Russ there. And if Russ was to press 6, this is what you would see. You would see just how far back that red beacon is. 7 is the tracking shot. This is the traditional camera shot. It's the one that's used for broadcast regularly. So whether that's a cable cam, whether it's a helicopter shot or a tracking shot through, or a motorbike following shot, number 7 will give you all of those. It's terrible to ride with though, because unless you just happen to fancy yourself being on telly. Number 8, very handy, except when you hit the trees, because this is our helicopter shot, and you can just see the riders just making the way in and through. And the helicopter does vary in height to try and get a good shot of the riders. Very handy when you're in a sprint. Number 9. So key number 9, view number 9. It's like having a cable cam over the top, as you would in a sprint and a run into a finish, or the drone flying directly above you. I mean, you can see who's moving up where. You have to, though, know exactly where you are on the course, because you can't see much of the route in front. So if you know the course inside out, you know where your finish is, particularly when you're coming into a sprint or you're working in a group, this is a great angle to use regularly. And of course, we have a 0. This is our drone that we'll take up in the air. We can fly right into above the riders. You can just see looking right at the top of Russ. There we go, up above him. We can get a view right down. We can drop it right down in the budge, because this drone is amazing. It's like a nanotechnology drone. It can actually fly between the spokes of a wheel. And it's exceedingly high speed, because if we get it right on Russ, we can make everybody dizzy and spin the bunch round and round and round and round until everybody feels sick and wants to get off. At the moment, nobody wanting to get off. The entire gang working together superbly, and this is what we want to see. So into the forest, into the mist. We're going to be coming up to the lakes very, very soon, and everybody at the moment riding well together as we make our way in through the Sequoias. And the pack looking very good indeed as it comes in and through, just shrouded in mist at the moment. So one of our notable missing riders today is Simon Runnett. Simon's been down south testing out some Cotswold climbs this time round, aiming to be back on Thursday. So good to have the messages coming in from Simon. Don't forget to get on the Facebook page, and that Facebook page, the Donny Chaingang Facebook page, where we get all of the updates. Don't forget, of course, if you're online, make sure you join up for the Donny Chaingang. Now, if you are a regular monthly contributor, a regular monthly donor, and you fancy joining for the September, October, November and December period, for that 4-month period, we will do a block ticket. It'll be going out on to the websites towards the end of August, and it does mean that you can do all 4 months in one block rather than having to renew every month. We'll continue to send you the links, the discount codes from all of our fantastic sponsors. You see the T-Rex just in the background, just disappearing off behind our riders there. Bit Jurassic Park moment for the riders on the way down. You can just see the gang a little bit stretched, but not too bad at the moment. Looks like a pterodactyl flying overhead as well. Anybody name all of the creatures, you're doing better than me. So Rush just out of the saddle there with the yellow chevron overhead, just pushing a little bit harder on those pedals, just bringing the gang back together again. If we zoom the camera, fly our drone around overhead, looks like the Diplodocus in the background, just taking a little bit of a higher view, which is where we need to get the drone up to get a better view of the gang. Now the red beacon just starting to have to work behind the riders at the moment, just trying to keep everybody in the gang. So looks like Mick Clark from the Donny Chaingang just making his way back in to the group from the back there. So good to have Mick back with us in that Beer and Bikes jersey, well known to be when it's worn by Eddie Denchwell. Good to see Mick in there and just pulling up alongside another rider in that jersey, which is probably not Eddie. I think Eddie just a little bit different in shape further up the road. The red beacon now coming on to the back of the gang. Russ sat towards the rear third, and if we pop up the numbers up on the screen, you'll see that our riders now are starting to make the way up and make the way onto the final section of the climb. The profile of the climb just sitting just at the very bottom of the map in a dark brown shaded section. You see we've gone over the first kicker, now onto that second part of the step climb. We then drop down, it plateaus again, a slight rise before dropping back down to the desert. It's good to see Koosluks in here. Now had the pleasure of Michael Hutchinson's company yesterday, and the team from Stilton dropping off some bottles. The prizes for the riders who completed all of the stages in the Tour de France tribute on the Donny Chaingang. In fact, here he is. Let's have a little look. So Goose looks, he does look like this in real life, I can confirm this, even down to the beard. It's absolutely spot on actually. And Goose looks in with the disc now. He has had some great rides. He was fourth the other day on a very, very tough ride, and sat in here. And actually he's alongside Shelley Charles, who on the 3rd of June, I think it was third in the Donny Chaingang. Everybody getting their bragging rights in. Good to see Tom Elliott's in here now. Tom joining us, and you can just see sat here, plenty of ride-ons in his pockets in the blue. And just going to take a quick check on the bike. So he's gone for an S-Works for something reasonably light and aero, and some deep rims as well without the disc. So all looking good at the moment. for Mr. Elliott. 117 beats a minute, 90 revs, so keeping the revs nice and smooth. Good cadence there, 149 watts. So Russ just making his way onto the back of the group after potentially you were just about to lose the TV on the switch off. Lots of TVs do have that automatic switch off option. If you start the tech too early, it can fall at just the wrong moment. That is a definite, or to use a Mattism, for sure. So super smooth climb by the riders, and agree with Russ on that one. It's going to be very, very interesting as the riders go up and over. It's definitely going to be interesting to see if the how long the gang keeps together, and where Russ is likely to pull the trigger, because we're currently only sitting at 16k, so only 16k in at the moment. We've been riding for about half an hour, just under half an hour, and going well at the moment. So the gang now on the descent down, and going to be making the way down towards the desert. This is a nice fast descent. We're at the moment on the first of the drops. It will level, and then there's a slight rise before we head out. So basically we come to the junction where you can take the mountain bike off if you've got steering on, and then on the way up, slight riser coming in, and you can just see the gradient dropping from -1 at the moment. And then it's going to just kick up over the next little section where you can see the hairpins. Basically, you're on the way up. So here we go, on to the next rise. This is a step up onto the next plateau, and it is a real roller coaster here. And this is where keeping it as the gang together is very, very difficult. You can just about see 3 riders at the moment, just getting a little bit distance. It is going to be 2 laps. Neil, if you're a member of the DCG gang, guess what? You get told all this in the email that we send you. One of the advantages of being a member. So up this a little bit of a riser, going to see another regroup, I think, and then we'll be starting to head back down again. It is very difficult to get the modulation of the power just right here. However, the riders on the Chaingang, it's part of the training. It's all part of the workout. Remember, we don't just design these courses so that they work for the Chaingang. We also design them actually so that our riders get something out of it, so that it benefits the riding on Zwift, so that it gives you good practice and training at riding with the rest on the rest of the events and on races, so you can take as much shelter where you can, that you are able to modulate your power, not waste any energy, but also you get to know where to push on and when to ease off. So just jumping in with Craig Herring, another of our regular riders near the back, going to be pulling people on. Looks like Ted there, and looks like at the moment Mark Tickhill doing a great ride here. Ticker's sat here in the blue and green camo. Come on, mate, push on these uphills, and then that will give you the power up. So on a roller coaster, if you're feeling the pace, make sure you put the effort in on the uphill. That's where you're going to close the gap down most. do a mini recovery, a micro rest on the downhills, just ease off a little bit on the pedals, then push again on the slightly uphill part of the roller coaster, and this will let you get back on again. I would imagine that Russ at 3 seconds is going to be easy enough as we come out of the roller coaster, but at the moment 2 riders just off at the back, and some assistance here, I think, because these guys are still doing 45k an hour, so some aero assistance from the gang wouldn't go amiss at this point. Whether we're going to see many people coming back, I don't know. Looks like we might see Martin Bott, Craig Herring, Darren Curling potentially coming back. Let's see if anybody's going to drop off the back of the bunch to join Ted and gang. So a little bit of a kick up over the crest there from Tickers, kicking it up to 3 watts per kilo, and you can just see, looks like Craig Herring is coming back. Johnny Atkinson doing the business as well, fantastic stuff. Chris Canham doing the same. And if we take a look up the road, we're going to jump in basically on a view of Tickers. You can just see these 3 riders coming back. Now, remember guys, it's about getting the gang back together again. We want to get the gang all together as we come down here. So whilst Russ starts to regroup them, there's plenty of people off the back there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 riders now. Looks like this is what we want to see on the Chaingang. Everybody dropping back to help. You can see now strong riders coming back. They can see where the yellow beacon is, so they can keep a track of it. And this group is going to come together. And you can just see the guys just nicely pulling it together. Here we go. I think they're going to get on here. They're about 9 seconds off the back of the main bunch here, and I think this is going to be doable on the way down. We're not yet at half distance. Let's see if they can get this gap closed out. Could just be mean and just leave everybody off the front anyway. Let's see if we can get hold of Russ, see what Russ's plans are. Always entertaining, trying to do this mid-ride. So I know Russ will be listening on the YouTube stream, so we're going to try and get hold of the bear, who is up at the front. Let's see if we can pick him up and get an answer from the one and only Russ Downing, who hopefully is listening in on YouTube and is ready. So Russ, how are you doing?
Hey mate, I'm all right.
Well, it's really looks like this gang have gone back for Tickers, but Tickers is feeling the pressure here, and I think these riders may be on a mission to nowhere. I know Mark always puts absolutely everything into this, but I'm not sure he's going to get back on again. But overall, it's been an amazingly well-controlled gang, hasn't it?
Yeah, the 2 little climbs there back to back were really good, I think. And we rode great tempo, you know. Looked after each other. No one was springing off up the front. So, you know, everyone was looking at the scenery, the dinosaurs, the bears, whatever else happens in the jungle. But, you know, it's kind of coming back together now. We've probably just got a couple out the back. But, you know, we're tapping along nicely now, nearly 40k an hour, 2.5. So, yeah, should be good fun. Let this big blob get back on, and then and see what's happening.
Yeah, it's good to see everybody dropping back and helping out and trying to bring everybody on there. So looks like they've done a great job of pulling the gang back in. I think once the hammer goes down this course, though, we're going to see bodies all over the place, because once that hammer goes, it is absolutely brutal, isn't it? Because we've got this fast run into it, everybody can get right onto that very fine edge before it goes bang.
Yeah, like it was just saw there, you know, with people going forwards, backwards on those rollers, and that's where it really hurts on this course. You know, you only need a second, and that second becomes 2 seconds, then it's 3, and it's like, oh, it's really squeezy. So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it actually.
That's always a bad sign when you say you're looking forward to it. So just taking a little bit of a look, looks like Kieran Smith just off the back just to warm his legs up at the moment, just to ease him back a bit. Other than Kieran, everybody else back on, and it looks like big chat going on here with Ted and Tickers, which is always good to see. Craig Herring hovering around the back yet again. He always likes to play it dangerously, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think I'll work Craig out by now. Hovers around the back. That's like, gets on the TV. Mum and Dad's attacks. But no, in all fairness, Craig's been on the gang for a long time now. He's a great supporter of everything we do. And he loves it.
Yeah.
So, and, word on the street is he's going to come and ride the IRL Chaingang on Saturday in a couple of weeks. So, it should be good fun to take some of the guys around that.
Yeah, looking forward to hearing how that goes on. I think I've got a broadcast early enough that day, but deliberately, or I'm washing my hair or anything basically, than to get ripped to pieces on the Chaingang in real life. Whatever happens, I'm definitely not going to be there, I'll tell you that much, but I am looking forward to seeing that. And don't forget, if you want to join Russ, make sure you get yourselves on the Facebook page and check out the details of when Russ is going to be out there and where the meeting times and so on. Russ, I'm going to let you get back to it. I know you're currently hovering around the back of the bunch at the moment, but we'll let you get back up and focus on the ride.
Yeah, this is the finish line, for next time round. So We've got Eine Ronde, as they would say in the old foreign lands. So,
indeed,
people listening, we've got one lap to go, guys, and thanks for behaving. And how far back is Red now? Is he way back? I'm just trying to scroll the screen.
39 seconds, Russ. 39-40 seconds.
Yeah, great job.
I think the phrase is gone and now waiting. I think the pair of them are waiting to mop up the debris and detritus that gets expelled from the bunch when the hammer goes. So he'll be, I'm sure, picking up riders on the way through. So one lap to go for our riders that go in and through the action. You can see it's right in personal best, people going through. Russ, good luck, and we'll catch you on the other side.
Cheers, mate. Good luck yourself.
I might need it on this one.
Cheers, mate.
So great to catch up with Russ there, and you can see the riders at the moment all hovering in this group, and I think everybody's a little bit twitchy now. You've seen we've gone through one full lap. We came in and underneath the rock arch, and now we're on our way. We're making our way around onto lap number 2. Everybody's done this. No more rehearsals. This is the final lap, and this is where our riders really do need to make sure they keep in those wheels as long as possible. The advantage of playing a game like Zwift and riding on this kind of simulation is it is all about holding the wheels. Just like in real life, if you can stay glued within a few centimetres of somebody's wheel, then you are going to find yourself in just the right spot. And I think what we're going to find now as Russ starts to ramp things up slowly but surely, I suspect we may well even see some numbers. Maybe we're going to see a 3 watt, 4 watt per kilo ramp up before that infamous trigger, or he may just be mean and pull it in one go. But let's see what happens. Certainly at the moment, we're just rolling at the back of the group. So that group all together as our helicopter is up overhead at the moment. I think the times, at the moment we've got 45 seconds of time for the Fuego Flats. That's going to get absolutely decimated on the way through. If we take a look at the Titan Sprint's time, you can see everybody very, very close together there. 6 minutes in the men, 6:19. You can see that everybody basically in that group for Titan's Grove, and the Fuego Flats Sprint. Again, if we look at those, you can see basically pretty much everybody all together in those groups as they come in through at the moment. So let's see what's going to happen as the pace is likely to start picking up. Currently sitting at 40 kph with Russ as the helicopter just hovers up above our riders. And if we drop down with them now, I think we're going to see it's pretty much all together. So the gang chasing the train at the moment as they come through town. Looks pretty good at the moment, nicely together, and I suspect we're going to see things start to get wound up a little bit. People will be getting twitchy. Nobody wants to get caught out on the way through, and at the moment, pretty much everybody all together, just sitting in with Russ at the moment. And it's always nice when the gang actually holds together like this, because everybody's generally just being thankful they're still in and sat in with the group at this stage. Just watching the riders come through. Russ just sat on the back of that pack, and at the moment, this is what we want to see. Nicely controlled, super quick, and interesting to see Russ doing a real pro on here. Just sat at the back here, and look at that heart rate, 82 beats per minute from Russ at the moment as they make their way in through here. So Russ at the moment not burning much, he's not expending energy, not igniting the burners, just taking it nice and steady. 82 beats per minute. Oh, he's just lifted it to 89 because we're talking about him. Let's do some comparisons. What's Neil going at? 115 for Neil at the moment. Kieran Smith, youngster. Oh no, heart rate monitor, can't tell what he's up to. Mr. Donny or Mr. Mann. Mr. Mann's 126. Tom Elliott and Rich Orrell, they're just up the road. Rich Orrell, no heart rate. Let's see what Mr. Ball's got. 152. And this is where you get to see who is really on the. So 155 from Sonia Inslee at the moment. Johnny Atkinson, he's sitting at 120. Looks like Craig Harris has had a drop out and disappeared off the back of the gang at the moment. Let's see if we can catch up with Andy. Andy's usually sat there 149. So as we come in through the lake side, the riders all together at the moment. We're just playing Surf the Riders' Heart Rates. Let's see if we can pick on a few others. Mr. Davis, not got that there. Let's have a look at Mr. Briggs, Lone Rider, 148. Let's see if we get hold of Maddie Smith. She's so Steve Hilbert, 126. Maddie Smith, 126. Quite a lot of these riders are very similar. 125 there. Mr. Richardson, he's sitting at 119 at the moment. Just Emma sitting at 153 beats per minute. John's at 146. So all these riders all very, very smooth. Okay. Oh, Russell just hit the 3 watts per kilo, ladies and gents. 3 watts per kilo. This is where things get interesting. Let's dive towards the back quick. Not this back, the other back. So at the moment, looks like Ted's on 140 beats per minute. Ticker's sitting at 150. Both looking pretty smooth here. Russ sitting at the back of the bunch. He said 3 watts per kilo. This is always dangerous because this is where the ramp starts to go. If you look at the riders' heart rates as you look at the ride summaries, you will see that the riders' heart rates will ramp up, and this is what's going to happen now because once Russ says 3 watts per kilo, you know everybody's going to ride at 3.5 watts per kilo. Everybody just does. They're incapable of sitting at what it says. However, it is all just about holding together here. So Chris Canham at the back, but no one wants to be last man in the group. It's really it's that straightforward. No one wants to be on the back. So John Garfoot at the moment on the back, and just watch John is likely to push up. As John pushes up through the group, that means somebody else is going to be on the back, and it's a bit like watching a devil take the hindmost. Nobody wants to be at the back. And for our lighter riders like Sonia Inslee and a lot of the women, some of our younger riders like Kieran, they don't weigh very much. If we have people like George Cooper, George is, he can be a third of somebody's body weight, and that means that they really do have to play. It's all about pushing on, about power now rather than watts per kilo on the flat. So it's all about what you can push out. Mr. Mason, for example, if we can grab him, easier said than done at the moment with it being really busy out there. But if we can get hold of Chris, so if we get Chris, or if we can get Gareth, let's see if we can get hold of 2 of our riders that we know are slightly bigger. So Mason at the moment is sitting at 200 watts, 2.2 watts per kilo. Basically, if we pick somebody small, he says looking for a dinky person. Russ is dinky. Russ is currently doing 150, 160 at 2.3, so he's already at higher watts per kilo and got 2/3 of the watts coming out. and that's what it's all about. Sonia again, another of our light riders here, kicking 200 watts, nearly at 4 watts per kilo when she was kicking 200 watts out, and that is why it's not a ride where you need to be watching the watts per kilo. It's a ride where you need to watch where that yellow beacon is at the moment. Everybody on there, the limiter on the front, apparently 3 watts per kilo. I'm seeing plenty of numbers higher than that. Russ just having to switch to the keyboard on the messenger at the moment. So the gang are moving well at the moment. Just sat in with Sonia. Sonia guaranteed to put some sprints in. In fact, getting the combativity award of those Oakley glasses on the Tour de France on the gang. Let's have a little look on here. So just in with Barton at the moment, everybody holding together. This is one serious pack at the minute. 80 Danchin and 80 looking pretty smooth at the moment. Let's take a little bit of a check. 80 sat in here and looks like 145 beats per minute. We know he's got a bit more in the tank. Jumping back in with Mason at the moment, plenty more riders behind. So Neil Tukey in here with us. Good to see Neil on the Chaingang. So Neil, if you're listening, we're going to be finishing at the Rock Arch. We always finish at a fixed point rather than at the Blue Banner, which actually varies from rider to rider slightly, so which is sort of why we always make sure we finish at a fixed point. So Neil in here in that GCN strip there. So looks like Neil at the moment, 152 beats a minute, 200 watts, nicely ticking along here in with the group. Now we've just come out of town. If we take a little bit of a look behind, you'll see the very much the middle of the States, almost Area 51 style town, now heading up on to the climb, and this is where the pressure will start to take its toll on riders at the back of the group. So we're going to be hovering a bit vulture-like, I think. Today we'll get up in the sky and just keep a check here. Carl Johnson nicely pushing up past the riders on the very back there. And I think it could well be that Russ is going to be one of our riders sat near the back. He is. There he is, Russ, with that disc wheel on the deep front at the moment. And right at the back of the group at the moment is Daryl Tatchell-Waller. Now we know that Daryl is more than capable of pushing his way up to the front and muscling his way along, but a regular rider helping those riders at the back, as well as just hovering and sitting there. He knows the score. Don't expend more energy than you need to. So it looks like Mr. Barton just not in with us, and just keeping an eye now on the riders up here. Mr. Reeney's in here from Bolsover, another of the Bolsover riders. Craig Genther in here. Looks like our women's yellow beacon sat in with the group at the moment, pushing nearly 4 watts per kilo. Oh, and looks like Rusty's back with us. My goodness. So Russ has got the chat back up and running. You're back. He's back with us and up on the screen. So let's take a look. Looks like Russ having fixed the everybody managing to get a little bit more of a breather than maybe they would have done. And just see Mr. Barton just dropping off the pace. He's going to spin his legs out. Mr. Pattison, come on, mate. Time to push onto the back of Russ's wheel here. So this is where he's got to keep the pressure on. He's got to get back on. So come on, Gary. Now's the time to keep kicking. You need to be on the wheels. So it looks like Sonia Inslee at the moment. Mr. Cannon just starting to be distanced by the pace on the front. Russ just rise up into those wheels. The gaps are opening and these riders will need to keep pushing if they want to stay with the group. Once those gaps open, it is almost impossible to bring them back at the moment. We're in with Lone Rider. Good to see he's back in here with us once again. Another of our regular riders from the start here. On to the next big ramp, and now we're going over the crest, and this is where we start to go downhill a lot more into the next of the troughs. And at the moment, Taylor now off the back with Lone Rider. They're in the danger zone, hanging on the back at the moment. The pressure has split these riders, and you can see the gaps really have opened up. Let's jump in with Catley now. So Catley's in here, so John Catley's in, and if we just take a look, you can see the riders getting strung out behind Garfoot, Mason, Taylor there, Malin just in front, Cootie just in front, but the compression as you go down, you can see now it's like Garfoot really using that power up well to get back into the group. As we're now into that descent, we've done the downhill, we're going to level out, it's going to go up any second. The pace really is on here, and you can just see this group is just about holding together. We're in with Catley. Looks like Steve Hilbert is around the back here. And the go goes. Here we are. The go is gone. It is time for the riders to ignite the burners, to put wings on their wheels, and to hit the turbo boost button. Because if you've got 22.1 gigawatts, if you've got any way of getting the power down, this is where it all counts. This is where you need to give it somewhere onto the Titans QOM. So it looks like there could be plenty of people getting a PB on the way up here, because this is the KOM and the pressure is on the front. Russ making his way up to the front, and you can see Mason is up here in the black as Russ comes up to the front here. Tuki sat in with the gang. The go is gone. There are no limits on the ride now. This is all about getting in and through that line in first place. Who's going to do it? Will it be a Mason victory? We're going to see a breakaway, because the course is one which means that if you get gone, it's very hard for people to bring you back at the moment. The very front of that group, it's spread across the road. Russ just sitting in with the group here. Chris Darby needs to close those gaps down, just about in there. Dick Samuel in there. Taylor just pushing on at the back, and it's starting to get strung out behind this initially a big group here of about 25 riders. Ian Bale just about sat in here. Let's jump in with Ian now. So Ian Bale is in here, and Bale at the moment is in this little group of riders, but they can't let that gap go. It's opening up to the back wheels of Andy Hawes and Mr. Tukey. So Neil Tukey there, and you can just see Bale's pushing across to get on the wheels of Bull. So he's made it across, and Donny and Cooling need to make this as well. If they don't get across the gap, they're going to be in trouble. You cannot let a gap go. Looks like Samoa now in trouble as Kieran Smith starts to accelerate away on the front here. Now you've got to watch Smith. He's one of our super fast riders here, and he's now kicking out 6.9 watts per kilo. 6.9 watts per kilo. Absolutely nailing this now at 500 watts to push up over the top. He's got Mason on his heels, and he has really fractured the group behind. So making his way up on this climb. The times to beat 6:19 for the women. In the men's, the current fastest time is 6:16, and those are going to get smashed to pieces. I can't imagine they're going to get left in any way, shape or form. Now Russ coming up at nearly 8 watts per kilo with Atkinson on his heels. Daryl Tattershaw Waller in there. We're riding in with Kieran Smith, but the man up onto the front goes Mason now. So Gareth Mason, the fat cyclist, up onto the front as coming through at speed comes the bear. So Downing comes up to the front now on that Pinarello Dogma, just making his way up there on the F as Kieran Smith puts a kick in there at 9 watts per kilo to come up on his heels. And now Kieran, I think, has just put another big kick in here. Daryl Tattershaw Waller is chasing hard to get on to the heels here. Can Tattershaw Waller make the grade, or is he going to fall the bylines on selection here? He's got to get through this. It doesn't matter whether you're tough enough to make the fan dance, you've got to get yourself up on the selection. The top 3 at the moment up the road, and Tattershaw Waller sitting behind here. Genther's going to make this move across, and he's going to provide a bridge, I think, here for Booth, and Tattershaw Waller. Booth now up on to the heels here. So here we go. Kicking on as Kieran Smith continues to power on at 6.5 watts per kilo. We're coming up towards the crest of the hill. Who is going to take the KOM here? Are we going to see Russ put in the time to get the KOM? We're not all that far off the top here of the climb, and this is going to be to take the honours as they come around these bends. You can just see where new roads are likely to be formed on here on Swifton. Here we go. You see those 2 little rocks at the side of the road. That's your indicator that we're coming up to the line. It's not a big marker as through goes Russ Downing. So Downing goes through, and I think he's going to set the time 3:50. Yeah, I'll say that again. 3 minutes 50.6 seconds. A new PB. 80 Dench doing the same. Billy No Mate's doing the same. Neil from the Crosscast doing the same. Darby's going to be our next rider coming up to the top of the climb. So far, everybody through setting new PBs. Currently setting about 4 minutes. I suspect Darby's going to do the same here. Richardson is just behind as well. Yeah, he is indeed. So this is going to be one after the other after the other. Meanwhile, at the very front of the ride, you can just see our dynamic group of riders moving around very, very quickly indeed. Behind these 4, Booth is just distance. You can just about see him about to come around those bends. He's just onto the left hand. So there's a couple of bends behind. Kieran Smith in the black with the yellow bike. The rear of the 4 riders. Mason all in black with the disc wheel. Russ in the disc wheel with the Downing cycling kit there. And then Genther with that map cap and the blue Tron bike. As they come round these turns, these are our leading 4, and this really does pay to put a dig in here, and that's what Genther's gone for here. Just seeing Genther put in a dig now. Kieran Smith is answering. Craig Genther's gone again. They don't want to take Mason, and they don't want to take Down into the finish. Why would you want to take known sprinters into the finish? This is fantastic to see, and the Bears now not only being poked, they've got him in a cage. Can he get out of it? Well, it looks like he's going to just about get back on the heels here. He's at 1 second, and again they go. So Genther puts another dig in, and Kieran Smith puts another dig in here. Smith and Genther here are trying to work over Mason and Downing, and the pair of them are doing a great job of distancing riders behind. You can just see Kieran Smith has really made them work, and Russ has had to use a power up. He's got the feather flying. That's 10% off Russ's diminutive weight. So Russ now comes over the top. He rolls back in again. They really have backed off the pressure. Kieran Smith just kicking into the heels. So that little flurry of attacks just has abated somewhat as they make their way down in towards these turns. But these riders, the 4 riders, Mason in the black on the front in the all black, Downing with that chevron above him, Genther with the cap on. Pointing back was that map cap, and then Kieran Smith with the flat cap in black with the yellow Tron bike, just making his way down this straight. They are the 4 riders, and behind it's 34 seconds back to the chasing group, which is this huge chasing pack behind. So the gap is currently hovering. It's around about 19, and Genther's got on the offensive again. He really does want this, Genther. He keeps on putting it in an attack. They're not far off dropping out of the trees and into the mud flats. You can just see the lights up on the map at the top, and Genther's now got a gap. He's got 1 second. That usually equates to between about 10 and 15 meters dependent on speed on most of the course. But look at this, Kieran Smith is working his way back in towards Genther. Now this is 2 against 2. Kieran Smith along with Craig Genther at the front. The fat cyclist Gareth Mason with the bear. Fonzie Downing behind. Mason doing the work. Downing sat on his heels at the moment. They're going to bring them back once again. Time for another counter-attack. Or is it another attack by Genther? No, it's Smith putting a kick in. Then Mason rolls over the top. Nobody putting anything in that is going to split this group at the moment. Mason just rolling it through up over those roller coasters, keeping the momentum moving. And at the moment, 4 riders together. Nothing to choose between these 4 at the moment. If it comes down to a sprint, well, I'm not sure who my money's on. It should, in theory, be Mason. He's got the biggest power when it comes to the sprint, but you can't discount Downing's speed, his experience, his naturally fast kick. He didn't win those national championships for nothing. Wasn't known for taking the Tour of Ireland just because he was prepared to sit back and let everybody else take it. Kieran Smith, remember Kieran, of course, very, very fast. A former medalist in the hill climb, a quick roadman and a regular on the Chaingang races on Zwift regularly. He knows this inside out. And Craig Genther really is coming into a patch of form at the moment because he has really shown that at the moment he has the speed and the power to mix it up with the big boys at the front, and really does deserve to be in this group of 4 riders. Now 20 plus seconds clear of that chasing group. The chasing group currently being led at the moment, Darrell Tashawala by them, Booth, Dench, Atkinson, looks like Kuslug's in there, Hutchinson, Billy Nomate's in there, Tom Elliott in there, Neil from the Crosscast in that group as well. But they have got to give best at the moment. They're racing for 5th place down as the riders come in to that road junction and head now in towards the desert. It's not going to be long before they're back past the pens. The pens are out on the left hand side. You'll be able to see the arches just out to the left. You can actually see the sign giving it go, go, go back there. So it looks to me, unlike the man with the go, go, go at the moment on, is Genther just eases back off the pedals. I don't think he wants to do too much work now. It's a very flat, fast run in from here. And it's going to be very, very difficult for these riders now to break the elastic to get the gap at the moment. Downing just sitting back a little bit. It is a way to get a little bit of a run through, is to lay off just like you would in a track sprint. You've seen it in the Olympics if you've been watching. Lay off a little bit, give 5 to 10 metres. Now on Zwift the ideal distance is about 5 metres, still getting enough toe, but give yourself enough room to kick up into it. If you sit back at 10, you've got to work quite hard to get into the slipstream before you can then use the slipstream to come through the riders. Remember, whoever's on the front is doing the most work. Whoever's at the back is the rider who is getting the most assistance. And that's how it works on Zwift, just like it does in real life. So it's about making sure you don't put too much effort in too soon. These 4 riders have a gap, 25 seconds. These are the chasers. They can see in front of them. They can see the beacon. This is the view that the riders will get. They know how far in front they are. It's 25 seconds up the road, though, to these 4 time running out. They're going to be into the Tempest Fugit turns, which is the loop they will go round on the right-hand side. And then once they come out of that loop, they've got very little distance before they go into the sprint. So you can see some serious power being put in behind. It looks like Neil just trying to break away from the group behind at the moment. We're just going to drop back very, very quickly indeed to group 2. Because these riders are into these turns. But it looks like Neil from the Crosscast has gone for this. He's just opened up a gap. Chase is coming from Booth and Darrell Tashawala and Atkinson able to just try and break clear, dragging the rest of the group with them. Meanwhile, back up to the front. This group's still sitting together, nothing to choose between them at the moment. Nobody's going for it. They're all the way across the road here with Mason now taking up the running again. I don't think Mason wants to go from too slow a pace. He wants to take it on from some pace. He may not necessarily have the same snap, but he's got oodles of power to spare. And at the moment, Downing now coming round the side of him onto the front. but there is nothing between these riders. Remember, it's half a kilometre from the orange beacon at the right-hand side of the road. The riders come out from this junction, and they are going to see that beacon. Here we go. It's 500 metres when they hit the line now. So 500 metres between these riders. It's all left. It's down to these riders. You can see the archway in front now. And Mason has gone for the early one. He's put in. Oh, look at this. He's got an aero boost as well. He's saved that power up. It gives him a much better advantage when it comes to the kick. He's kicking out 13 watts per kilo. He's absolutely slaying them at the moment. And what timing. That is racecraft at its best. He waits, he puts the power up, and he kicks his way into the line. So it's Mason in 1, it's Kieran Smith in 2, Downing comes through in 3, and Craig Genther, after all that attacking, comes through in 4th place. We're going to jump back very quickly. This is the chasing group. We're just in with Neil from the crosscast, and Denture's gone hard here. Neil put in a big attack, but it's Denture at the moment up on the front. I think Kooslugs is trying to answer him here, so let's get in with Michael Hutchinson. So Hutchinson now is up here, but look at Booth go. Booth has come. He used Hutchinson to drag him up there, so it's going to be Booth who takes that spot behind 5th place for Booth. It's Kooslugs in 6, Dench in 7, Neil from the crosscast in 8, Elliot in 9, Teshel Waller 10, No Mates in 11, Atkinson in 12. Saisel is going to come through into 13th place behind him, though. This is the fight for 15th and 16th places, and it looks to me like Donny has gone for the early one. Has got the power to leave them all behind. He really is giving it big beans at the moment, but can he leave them behind? Well, the gap is coming down. You can see Bundy's got better watts per kilo. Here they come. Can they get him on time? He's going to hold it. He's going to hold it. He's held it. He keeps them off, and it was then Derby, Bundy, Richardson and Dubash who came through. Malin coming through, Clark, Reaney in there, Hilbert in there. So Bale at the moment is going to get jumped over the top here. Tuki's going for it now, so Tuki knows that he's going for that arch here. Cooling's coming though, and Darren is coming. Tuki's going to try and answer this. Can he hold him off? It's Cooling. This is Darren Billings on his way in here, and I think Billings is going to get this. Look at Darren burying himself here as he goes into the line. Just takes Tuki as they come through the line behind. Then I think Maddie Smith is coming through, and I think Maddie is going to take the first of the women through here. So Maddie Smith comes through at the front of the women's competitors, the women's riders in here. So Maddie was in and got through. Now let's take a look. It's going to be, is this going to be a sprint between Nadoni and Ball here? Who's going to kick? Are they going to be content to roll in through the arch here? I think Nadoni's going to just take this through the arch and over the line behind, though. Look at this. You can just see Garfoot here. Now John Garfoot used his power-ups earlier to get into the group. He held them for a long time. He's got Johnson behind him, and Johnson is coming quick. He's coming quick, but can he get him? Johnson's not going to get him this time, so it's Garfoot, then Johnson, then it's Cootie behind. Then this is going to be Andy Hall sprinting into the line. He's going to come in just ahead of Sean Ferron. Ferron's going to come through. He's got the gang behind him. Catley, Mason, Taylor in there. So Catley, Mason, and then Ian Taylor come through. They've got 30 seconds on that chasing group. You can see absolutely everybody's legs absolutely shot. So let's have a little look here. Two riders very similar. In the front is Samuel. In the second rider position at the moment is Briggs as they come towards the line. These two look like they're finessing it a little bit here. So Briggs needs to get a wriggle on here because time is running out to go around the side of Samuel. So it looks like Samuel just holding the front. Briggs at the moment on the second wheel here at the moment. And it's going to stay that way as they go through the line behind them. Then this is going to be Canham. Are we going to see a sprint from the yellow women's yellow beacon? Can Emma give it a kick? Because Canham's gone early here, and Canham is going to drag strip this out. And looks like he's giving it some beans. We see 5.5 watts per kilo from Emma, but Canham is going to take this in that final sprint into the line behind. Comes the women's yellow beacon just in front of Sonia Inslee, and not having to try and outsprint Sonia, which is a task in itself, it has to be said. So Sonia Inslee in here, lone rider on the front of this trio. Then Sonia Inslee and Mr. Cannon sitting side by side. Who is going to take this sprint? This will be a three-way sprint because you can pretty much guarantee Sonia's going to put a kick in here. as they come in towards line. Time is running out, though. They've got to be quick with this because it's up to the Rock Arch. I don't think they've got anything left. So it looks like it's going to be Lone Rider who's going to take them across. He does so. Lone Rider goes through, then Cannon, and then Inslee. And they come in clear of Gary Pattison. Pattison putting on a great ride here, holding on a long time in that group before the elastic finally snaps. So Patterson's going to be our next rider. You can see that gantry coming up in front. That rock arch that signifies the end of the ride. So we're going to watch Gary come in through the line. Then we'll jump in. Hopefully try and get hold of our yellow beacon. So good ride here by Patterson on his way in, heading towards the line. Great riding by Gary as he comes in through the line. And that means out on the course we've got Mr. Barton. We've got Ted and we've got Mark Tickle, and they're all on that last run in now, which is great to see. So Barton will be our next rider in. He's just got to make his way around the loop, which means if we get our timing right and the tech works, let's see if we can get hold of Russ, who hopefully is on the end of the phone line. We'll see if he's recovered from his efforts out on the course. So Russ, how are you doing?
I'm all right, mate.
It sounds like you've been pretty much up against it today. It was pretty brutal out there on the course. Everybody wanted to be at the front.
Yeah, it was good though, nice and controlled. I was having a night. I was typing things thinking, these aren't coming through, and I'm trying to watch the screen and everything, and I'm like, a random message had come through like 3 minutes later, and I was like, so then I was shutting all the apps down, getting everything going again. Then it came on. I literally typed the go, go, go with my keyboard. It was like a metre away on the other side of the room. So yeah, it was all good fun. But in the end there, we were going. I just got rode off the wheel, It's kind of funny. It was like a proper race because you were like, right, what gear am I in? What am I doing? Because everyone was leading to a sprint. And I was looking at my gears on my Wahoo saying, it says number 20 whatever. What's that mean?
Yeah, that's it. You've got to get it just right. And when Mason when the Fat Cyclist put in that power up with the aero plus 13 watts per kilo, that just means it's almost impossible to stay with him on a course like this. And you could see Craig Genton knew he was going to be up against it because Craig was putting in attack after attack.
Yeah, well, I was like, leave it to the sprint, see what happened, and then I was just about to start the sprint, and I see Gareth go, and I was like, right, well, I'm going anyway. And honestly, I was flat out sprint. I don't even know what I was doing, but I was riding away, and then then Kieran came over me just before the line, and I was like, whew. So chapeau, yeah. Use the power and the power up. So
yeah,
you're not going to compete with a double power, are you?
No, definitely not. Although I think Kieran snapped his chain actually as he came over the line, so you can tell he was trying hard today. And you've got to be careful because getting hold of a chain at the moment they're like gold dust apparently. So got to be very careful, that's for sure. So just seeing our next rider heading into the line, and this I think is going to be Mr. Barton heading for the line with Ted and Mark Tickers behind. So. Barton's going to be our next rider coming in to the line, I think. So he's going to be our next rider in and through the rock arch. The camera just jumping up in the sky there. So through and over the line goes Barton as he comes through. That leaves us two riders out on course. And Ted, our almost perpetual red beacon sometimes. He does, as many says, not quite as we saw... the gang do when we have Martin Bolt doing them all, but he's done definitely more than his fair share, but he does a great job, doesn't he? He's a very experienced rider, is Andrew Edwards.
Yeah, you know what, he's only got a K and a half to actually finish the ride there or something, hasn't he? Probably a K, less than a K, and then, to finish the actual event, 3K, so he's not doing bad there, He's not finished. How many minutes down is he? I can't read that. My eyes have gone.
Pass is going to be the answer, that's for sure, because they weren't that far behind, it has to be said. They were in the desert at the same time you were. So it shows you how close behind they were. They weren't stuck in the trees as you were coming in the finish. So as we tracked down, they were very close.
Yeah, I've got 47k on the clock now, and they've got 43. So do the maths there. They're not doing bad. And you said we were tanking along that last bit, like probably 50k an hour in the desert. So they're going well. What 30, 37, 38k an hour now.
Yep.
That's not bad. And Tickers and Ted are doing a great job there.
Yep, and on the way into the finish now. So just going to track them coming in at the moment. I think Ted at the moment is on the front, but they keep on powering it up. We're going to just jump up above them. At the moment, it is Ted who's going to lead this through in towards the gantry as they come in now. The pair, the dynamic duo, are on the way in, and looks like going to be a little bit of a roll here. Is Ticker's going to take him, or he doesn't? Looks like Ted just kicking at the right time there to hold off Tickers there. Great to see these two come through. So, Russ, we're going to let you get some recovery done. We're back again on Thursday. And off to New York City for the Gotham grind. Have you got your Batman outfit ready?
I got something. I need to get the memory book out. It is a long time since we've been there. Hell of a long time.
Definitely. If you're a member of the DCG gang, watch out for the video. It's the last time we were there, but it is definitely a throwback Thursday coming up for you. So cheers, Russ. We'll let you get some recovery, done some OTE down your neck, and we'll catch up with you soon.
Cheers, mate, and thanks everyone for a great night in the control, and yeah, you enjoyed it, and see you on Thursday.
So great to catch up with Russ there, and as our riders make their way in towards the warm down, in towards that blue banner, I want to say a massive thank you for watching. Don't forget, of course, you can subscribe to the Downing Cycling YouTube channel. Whilst you're online, make sure you have a look at the guys who make the Chaingang happen. It's basically everyone who supports the members of the DCG gang. If you enjoy it, don't forget you can support it by joining the gang. We ask you to donate either for a month or for the year, and once you've done that, then what that does is that means that we then look at your donation, and basically, unless you're banned or you're a complete lunatic, you're going to get into the supporters club, the DCG gang. Once you've done that, loads of discounts, loads of offers, lots of support from the people below. Halo Wheels, OTE, Velaskin, 1080, and all of the Oakley goodies that are there. Fellow viewer, of course, Grand Tour coffee. We couldn't be cyclists without that. Gritty, and we are going to be bringing you lots more goodies. We've got lots of support from people from Nonnas all the way through to Cold Bath Brewery. And I want to say a big thank you to all of the sponsors who have looked after us. So good to see the riders almost coming into the end of the ride. From me, Matt Payne, from Russ, from Emma, from everybody who's out on the gang. Keep safe, enjoy the weather, and we will catch up with you 2 days' time for the Donny Chaingang here on the Downing Cycling YouTube channel.